I am Andrew.
Can I?
Anybody got extra pen?
Miss White, can I sit there?
Good afternoon, Buffalo.
Good afternoon, Miss White.
Alright, I have started the do now timer. Ladies, you had a slight advantage because you came up early from lunch. Gentlemen, if we could get started ASAP, that would be great. You please sit there and take your seat. Thank you so much. Title today is Drug Jigsaw. Your aim. What are the effects and consequences of 12 major drugs? I love how Ivana's table is writing diligently. Thank you. For your do now, a review of our last couple classes of health. What are 2 consequences of long-term drug use? Once you've had a minute to get those things down, I'm going to zoom in on our vocabulary. For now, if you can copy those down, that would be great.
Fake.
Thank you so much.
That was such a...
Smells like taco.
What are the effects and consequences of 12 major drugs?
Alright, doing some do now spot checks. I see ladies at this table exceeding standards, already working on their vocabulary.
I can't see them. It's P. Big. What else? Cinco.
I can't even see you.
What are 2 consequences of long-term drug use?
Addiction. This is physical addiction. Is that body?
Can you please turn on the air conditioner?
I will turn it back on once we're in work time. I wanted to be able to remind you. We've had a couple of minutes for the do now, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on vocab. Some of you guys already have it. As you guys are copying vocab and definitions, I'd like to have 3 people share out consequences of long-term drug use that we have learned about in class. Nice loud voices. Frankie. What drugs did we learn about that can lead to cancer? Cigarettes. Okay, so tobacco and smoking can lead to cancer in the long term. Anybody else? Long-term consequences of drug use. Marcia.
Cancer? Oh wait.
We're back. Generally, so I'll come back to you, Marcia.
Isn't one like brain damage if you like drink too much alcohol?
Yes, we've learned a lot about the effects of alcohol on the teen brain, and a lot of drugs affect the nervous system. So long-term consequences can be brain damage or at least brain alterations, changes in brain chemistry. You got one?
Emotional issues.
Emotional issues. Can you tell me what you mean by that? Yeah, so we've definitely seen some drugs that are linked with depression. Great, thank you. So, today we're going to be zooming in on 2 important concepts that are related but slightly different. So I wanted to go over them. Okay, repeat after me. Physical addiction.
Physical addiction.
Physical addiction.
Physical addiction.
Physical addiction.
Physical addiction.
Could I have somebody read the definition nice and loud for the class? Sierra.
A person's body needs a substance to function normally.
Beautiful. Next up, psychological dependence.
Psychological dependence.
Psychological dependence.
Psychological dependence.
All right, I need another reader. Joseph.
A person is not physically addicted but relies on the drug to make them feel better.
Great, okay. So physical addiction, the person's body craves the drug. For example, if you've ever known somebody who drinks coffee every morning and then they don't drink coffee and they get a caffeine headache. So the next day they don't drink coffee and their head hurts, that's because the body is physically addicted to caffeine, and when it's taken away, the head hurts. Okay? Withdrawal can be a lot of different symptoms. If somebody's physically addicted, there are physical consequences in the body to not having the drug. Psychological dependence, they're not physically addicted. There's no headache or other withdrawal symptoms that they go away. But the person kind of relies on the drug. They depend on the drug. They use the drug to help them deal with life or manage stress. Okay? So one of these is physical and one of these is mental. And they're going to come up today, so I want to make sure that we're really comfortable with them. Questions about these definitions or the difference between the two? Cool. So today we are going to be talking, we talked a little bit about alcohol, we talked about tobacco, we talked about marijuana because those are the most commonly abused drugs. Today I want to talk about some other different types, but I want to jigsaw them so we can learn about a lot of drugs in not as much time. So just like our aim says, we're going to talk about 12 different effects. I'm going to go over a quick mini lesson on what we need to do. You guys are going to spend the vast majority of the class making your posters, okay, and then we'll be sharing quickly at the end. So, what is going to happen? You guys are going to be in groups of 2 or 3, okay? You are going to be assigned a drug, and just like we did with the STI jigsaw, your poster needs to include some things. So, for this one, your poster must include the name of the drug, nice and big on the top, please, so everybody knows what it is. Description of the drug, street names, effects of the drug, and then does the drug cause physical addiction or psychological dependence? What are some lessons that we learned from the last time around making these posters? What are some things that's important to think about when we make these? Tony?
The size of the letters on the poster.
Size of the letters is huge. If you guys write like you would write in your notebook, then everybody's up there like, what does that say? Not the best. So make sure you're writing with large, neat handwriting. What else is important? Manai.
That this time we do better with the transition.
Yeah. Okay, so during the presentations, making sure that we transition, because we're going to have 12 posters instead of 7 this time. Khadijah.
And make sure like that we have the most important information on the poster.
Absolutely. So if there are 10 different effects of the drug, you probably want to choose 2 or 3 to highlight for people, the ones that seem the most significant. Okay? Another thing, oh, Penny, yeah.
I was going to ask a question.
There's a question? What's your question?
Can we choose who we want to be partners with?
Nope, I got it made. Sorry, baby. So, another thing that I want to think about is color scheme. So when you're making them, making sure that you're choosing colors that stand out and maybe highlight it. If you get all this information down, what are some things that you could do to exceed standards during work time today? What would be some ways to make your poster stand out and be even better than what's required? Tony? Pictures. Okay, so illustrations are great visual aids. Khadijah?
A quote.
A quote?
Yeah, that sounds like a slogan.
A slogan. Great. Okay, so the slogans that I've seen have been really creative and awesome. Jenna Lisa.
Another way to make your poster like better is like to practice your presentation, like, or like interact with the audience, like show you.
Great. So if you're finished with your visual aid and you feel ready to go with that, you could start that next step of practicing your presentation. Love it. So, I'm going to go ahead and assign you guys. When you get your drug, your first step, before I give you chart paper and markers, you need to plan in your notebook what you're going to do. So you need to show me your plan in your notebook, a sketch, like draw the chart paper and say we're going to put this here, we're going to put that here, we're going to put that there. So that way you know what to do. When I'm going to pass that. When I see that from you and your partner, then I will give you chart paper and markers. You can get started planning as soon as you get your drug. All right. You got all the info right there, baby. Read it, and I'll come around in 10 minutes and ask to see if you have questions, okay?
So this one's gonna work.
Alright, guys, 28 minutes on the timer. You got extra, don't worry about it. It's the same.
Alright, so let's wrap it even. First one to write 79. Pretty big.
You should move on that. You should. Let me just write it. Or you write it. Or you write it. You write it. Okay, write this shit on right.
Now we're gonna, well, so the drug.
T, B, A, T,
You're over here, right?
yeah, no, it's right here. Yo, that's so easy.
Because the name of it is going to be blood.
Alright, I will let her know.
Street name. Okay,
So the...
I wasn't sure about this already.
And you know what you're doing, I want you to jot down what they are. That way you know which ones to use, because I don't think you're doing everyone on the stage, right? Are you helping her out?
Chill.
We should be ready for chart paper in the next 3 to 5 minutes.
Word.
What, baby? Copy is
Yeah, that's it.
stem is like a white substance that will come out of the stem and go to the spine stem. The skin will it's a copy of a similar substance. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. You ready? You read this, I'm okay. Let's read it.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to get the markers here. We'll leave those to start making sure that there's no more. Yeah, you guys read it.
Oh, by the way, when they said exercise, they don't make me like, I'm on.
You figured it out what you're putting in
It says description.
Ow! Hey, baby.
It's a description of is that like this. So it said.
You said.
This.